I am a hero too. My heart is sad, and I will let go. Hero too. Strength doesn't make a hero. A true hero. Instead of I'm sorry. You guys are probably like, what the turn? Why is she even making us listen to her sing? What is up, everyone? My name is JJ, and we are here with another reaction. Wait, should I finish the hero song? A hero. Wait, where was that? A hero. The hero stands up for what they. I don't even know where it goes. Hero to stands up. A true hero stands up for what they want to live. I don't even remember how it goes. Alright. I'll probably see it throughout the show. Anywho, I hope everyone's having a great one. I guess I am. Anywho, so well, yeah, you guys wouldn't have known because my computer was going to the repair shop, so I haven't been able to keep you guys up to date. So I've been making video games lately. If you guys want to play my video games, you can play them on itch.io. They are visual novels if you guys are interested. But anywho, I've been trying to make games so that maybe one day I can make big title. Something maybe like Zero Escape, Danganronpa, etc., etc. Anywho, I'm all over the place. Anywho, I believe the video I'm reacting to is the same person who has made the Tom and the Choo Choo Train game, the scary looking one. Chuka Chuka Tom. I don't remember the name of it. Chuka Chuka Choo Choo. Anywho, I am gonna react to this video. If you guys want to watch, feel free to watch. With that being said, let's get on to the video.
I've secretly been working on a multiplayer prison escape game for the last year. And when I say secret, like, I'm serious. Like, not even my buddy Craig back here has seen it.
Oh, snap.
Tough Bust. And like I said, it's a multiplayer prison escape game where you and your friends try to break out of prison by looting for tools, evading guards, and making a custom breakout plan.
That's crazy.
Destructible environments, proximity chat, and hundreds of combinations of escape routes because there's tons of different tools and interactivity that you can use to your advantage. But even though I've been working on this for like a year, it has not been easy getting to this point, and it's still in early development because I've never made a multiplayer game before. For the past 10 years that I've been making games, I've been terrified to even try. I may or may not. No, I definitely may regret my life decisions.
So I haven't been making. I always pick the worst places to. What's up, doggo? So in terms of video game making, so I haven't been in the video game making place for a long time. I've only been doing it for very little time this year. And a multiplayer game scares me. A single player game scares me that is a visual name. A visual novel, and the reason to that is because you gotta pay for servers and all that. So, like, trust me, I want to make a 3D game, but to make a 3D game, there's so much stuff that goes into doing it. So, like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and yes, you could use free assets, but to figure all that stuff out is a lot harder than you think. I'm surprised that I learned Ren'Py, to be honest. I am no programmer. So, and I think Ren'Py is apparently one of the easiest ones to figure out. So, like, to go from that to Godot or something like that, my one programmer does not want to use Unity and whatever the other one is because you gotta pay for it after, or you have to pay for it after you make a certain revenue amount, if you were to make that amount, because of all the like craziness. So he like prefers open source. Anywho, besides the point, I just think that if I were to get super popular or whatever, it would be kind of crazy for one, and two, it would be quite interesting to see what I could make. But yeah, that's just getting ahead of myself. Like, I would have to get there if I can't even do it with my videos. A video game, okay.
Here's a little setup. It's July of 2023. Console porting for Choo Choo Charles is well underway, and it's mostly in the hands of the porting studio. There's not really much that I had to do at this point. One day I was on Steam and I saw Prison Architect, and I was like, dang, Prison Architect is a cool concept, isn't it, right? You get to make a prison. Prison is cool. That's epic. And I was thinking, you know, it'd be really cool if that game was 3D. And then I was thinking, wait, but what if you could, like, actually escape from the prisons with other people in first person? And then I knew what my new game was going to be. I immediately started working on laying stuff out and started writing up ideas. Started trying to come up with, like, some character designs. And I thought it would be really funny to have, like, these really evil, awful characters that are, like, cute. Basically like dollar store minions. So the first version of these cute criminal guys was a little bit goofy. He had like claws and it wasn't really that cute. Looked like a Huggy Wuggy committed tax fraud. So I made a new concept that was a bit rounder, cleaner, cuter. Behind this innocent little face, bro, you have no idea what he's done. He's done the most unspeakable, the most evil. I can't even go into like why, but even if I just told you, I would be canceled. So that pretty much wrapped up the pre-production of the game. I had characters, I had gameplay, but now I actually had to make the game. Also, by the way, if you want a free copy of the game, because it is going to cost money when it comes out, but if you want a free copy, I'm going to be hiding Steam keys for the game in every single video that I make about the So starting with this video, there's going to be 10 Steam keys hidden throughout the video. So if you're the first one to find a key,
there's one.
then you'll get the game automatically for free when it releases. So keep your eyes peeled. So the
no, this says half a million views.
The game was to basically make a full-on game template that I could use to build all of the other mechanics on top of. So this would require things like a networked player controller system. It needs a basic interaction and inventory system. It needs proximity check. I need to set up a menu system, and I need to figure out a solid visual style. Then I can start building on all of the really cool stuff, like building out the prison environment and Gurjantins. Yeah, Gurjantins, baby. Gurjantins are freaking awesome. That's for a future devlog, though. First thing on the list is the player controller. I need a actual character model with character animations. So I started working on the player model, and I've never really made a player model. The closest thing that I've made is like a train body, which is not quite the same thing as like a humanoid Jalian character. By the way, that's what they're called. These guys are called Jalian because Jalen and aliens is Craig likes the name. He came up with it actually. So the first time I tried using like normal kind of geometry in Blender, and it looked awful. It looked really freaking bad. So I completely scrapped it, tried again, and it looked even worse. Third time, I tried doing a completely different strategy and I tried sculpting it. And sculpting is where, I mean, it's basically like digital clay. So I decided to give that a try, and that actually worked pretty well. Naturally, had to add a little bit of cake back there.
Snap.
You know what I mean? Hey,
that's not a little, that's a lot.
I'm just saying. Painted on like a little bit of like hair and skin texture so that like his
where the
skin
hair at
actually kind of looks a little bit more like skin, like flesh, and his clothes look more like clothes. I don't know why I'm explaining this. This is pretty dumb. I guess I'm explaining it for Craig here because he's pretty stupid.
Why you bullying me?
So I put him into Unreal and set up the textures in there, and while these aren't finished, it was starting to look pretty decent. It was looking like a Jalian. Here he is flying. Yep, we can bow down to him. We bow down to Epic Jalian. Oh, yes. Okay, so we've got a basic model, but that is like really just the beginning, because this is like, there's so much more left to do to get this guy actually moving around and animating and all this stuff. Before we can even animate him, we need to give him bones. When you're making a game, any animated
give me some time to think. I'm in the bathroom looking at things. Place in the mirror is all I see.
Line things that are assigned to different parts of the vertices, and they move them.
Okay, I need to stop talking.
Kind of like bones.
Got this magic in my bones.
And got them set up so that I could start animating.
There goes Maya. Ooh, Maya. There goes Maya. I'm sorry.
So the last,
not sorry. But I'm sorry.
Have all been either horror or just had like a really dark mood. I've always had like sketchy hand-drawn graphics or some kind of like cluttered kind of feel. But for Cuff Bust, I want to try something completely different. Bold, colorful, bright. Just like a complete opposite. So instead of using like the sharp hand-drawn style, I added all of these like bubbly, round, light and dark accents, but it still looked wrong, right? Like individual objects and textures looked nice, but the lighting in the scene and the placement was wrong. So it was still cluttered and messy. So I started experimenting with brighter lighting and a cleaner environment style, excluding like the massive sewer pipes that are like, you know, flooding the scene with sewage. What I had at this point was at least enough of a direction that I could start working on other stuff and be confident in the basics of the style, the bones of the style. Speaking of
The
bones,
give me them bones.
I've also never really done 3D character animation. You see, I've always relied on Mixamo, and for this game, I need everything to be stylized. You can't really have a stylized, cartoony character with realistic mocap animations. It would look so goofy. I'll even show you. Here, this is what it would look like. Look, it's like, I decided to start easy and just start out with an idle animation where he's just kind of like bobbing back and forth, just like, he's just vibing. So I brought that animation into Unreal Engine for some reason. His foot's doing weird stuff. Seems like a small issue, so I tried some slightly different settings. It just broke even more. So then I tried it again, and so finally, after like way too many attempts,
Oh my goodness.
I got my workflow set up and I got all the settings correct. Next one, I tried adding a walk cycle. What the is that? Took a little time, but I got the hang of it, and I started doing kind of a really bouncy kind of style. So now I've got the animations, right, for walking, running, crouching, jumping, and now I actually need to add them to a character that could do all that stuff. It can be alright. So first thing, I just wanted to see if I could even get two characters running around in the same map, so that it's like technically multiplayer.
Bruh.
Oh my god!
You're
Is
that Kermit?
Clicked a couple buttons and add multiplayer, and hey presto, now I got a multiplayer game. I went ahead and added just a really basic menu system so that I could connect multiple players to the same server. I almost look like I know what I'm doing. Now I can actually start adding these animations. So I got idle animations in, and they work just fine. I got walking animations in, and they work, again, fantastic. And then I added crouching. I don't think you heard me. I added crouching. I said I added. I'm trying to knock this thing over for the bit, but it won't. I added crouching! So I calmly added crouching, and it works very epically. I love crouching. I love adding crouching to my games. Now the movement looks decent when you're watching other people moving around, but it also needs to look good from a first-person perspective. First thing, I added camera shake. Really simple, really easy. And the next thing to address was the camera angle, and this is where things got a little bit tricky. In Cuff Bust, I want people to be able to look down and see their body. Their sexy,
What?
caked up,
Hey yo.
alien body.
Sus.
Adding a feature like that, I mean, it sounds simple, but that adds a lot of problems. Problem that's a little bit more unique to Cuff Bust is that when you look down, you can see your severed neck. When you're running, your body's like leaning forward and you're like lunging. So the first thing I tried to fix that was I just attached the camera to the neck. Horrific. Awful. Instead of trying to fix that, what I did is I softened the camera movement. And that basically just made the game third person, because now the body would basically just run away from the camera. So the solution I came up with was to add multiple different camera locations. One up here for when you're idle, one down in front of you for when you're sprinting forward, and one a little bit lower down for when you're crouching. And then the camera just smoothly interpolates between those points depending on which animation is playing. So with that in place, I went ahead and set up a more finalized menu system. So stuff with like game settings, key rebinds, and graphic settings, all that kind of stuff, as well as a better server creation method, a better server menu. And while working on the server creation system, I had kind of my first real dilemma with this project. So at first I had it set up to where you could just title the name of your server to be anything. You could just put in a custom string and then that
Yeah, that would have problems.
But I realized very quickly that people are obviously going to abuse that.
You're-
So I made a system that generates a random server name every time that you create a public server. What it does is it takes your Steam username and then it adds a phrase onto the end of it. So for example, 2-star is under your bed, or 2-star can smell you, or 2-star licked my feet. I'm
Why
not
is it
joking,
2-star
those
every
are in
time?
the game. So right now there's a few hundred different combinations, but I want to blow that number up as high as I can. So leave a comment with a server name that you think would be funny, and I'll add a bunch of them in the next devlog. You know, be sure to subscribe with notifications on to see if you get picked. And again, like, I want to add hundreds, so if you leave a comment, there's a pretty decent chance that you'll get picked. Progress on the game template is coming along well, but it's not done. There's still some major things that we need left, like proximity chat and our interaction system. So I looked around and I found a pre-made voice chat system, and I tried adding it to the game. And at first, I mean, it seemed like it worked well.
It is I.
I mean, within a half an hour it was set up. After testing it out some more, there was this constant issue where the audio would cut out.
I feel like I have no dialogue to give, to be honest.
It makes it pretty much impossible to communicate with people.
Alright, so this is how I, as a very professional video game developer, test if my voice chat is working. I just hold that for a really long time to see how much the voice chat is cutting out. Then I try to change stuff. Then I test it more. We also got to test it at different volumes. So. Okay, enough of this. I hate my job.
So I spent a
that was so unnecessary.
Trying to troubleshoot this issue and trying to fix the code that was already there. I pushed at least like 50 individual versions of the game to try and test it. It got to the point where I had less brain cells than Craig.
Sounds like a you problem.
Sorry, Craig, but it's a fact.
Nah, just kidding.
After a week of trying to troubleshoot this thing, I just said, I'm not making any progress. This is not working at all, and I scrapped the entire
Oh
thing and
no!
started from scratch. And it took me no more than
I hate doing that. Oh, yo!
So now that I had the basic system functioning, it was time to add all of the actual like proximity chat effects.
Okay, so oh wow, we already at the end of the video. So what was I gonna say? So okay, something I was gonna say. So yeah. I made a game, right? It was for a game jam. I had so much lines of entry, right? And I had not saved my script. So, okay, when I make a game and it's like with the time crunch, I just put the code in, right? Like, I do the script and the code at the same time instead of putting it, like, the script on a piece of paper and then moving it as code, right? So I did this whole code, right? It was like 1,000 lines. And I had saved it, right? You guys following me? Right. I had saved. I am the type of person who always saves states. Like, you know how when you play Pokemon or something and you save a game and you're like, did I save? And I'm like, I know I saved, but you can't help feel like you didn't save. So you save again? So that's me. I saved the game, right? And I'm just like, this should be fine. Everything's fine. Tell me how the next time I open up the game, everything's corrupted. I'm like, where's my stuff at? And I asked my program, I was like, is there a way to save this? So like, did you save it onto GitHub? I was like, no, I don't know how to use that. Like, you ain't got nothing. You're like, you ain't got nothing. I was like, are you for real? And I only had like, at that point, I had like less than 10 hours to submit the game. I was like, are you for real? I was like, all my work went down the drain. I was so mad. I was like, no. I was so upset. I was like, where's my code? I was so sad. I was like, what my code at? Man, I tell you, you thinking get upset if that happened to you. Hey, so when he like, I just threw down the drain. I'm like, oh man, I can relate.
Was really fun. So Unreal Engine 5 has a bunch of really good audio systems that most other engines just don't have. So the first thing I added was just a basic distance-based proximity chat. Then I added occlusion.
I am going to go behind this wall.
Then I made everything directional so you can actually hear the direction that a person is coming from. Then I added dynamic reverb.
You're on record. Alright.
Really cool, and it works super well in game. I'm like could not be happier with it. So for the indications, I added these little mouth sprites that go meep, 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 meep. And another thing that I thought was pretty fun is I added a yelling animation.
Oh my gosh, is that a spider? It's on your face. Oh my gosh!
Now there's just a few things left before we finish the whole template and can start working on the actual big game itself. I added an inventory and interaction system, and it was basically just a bunch of random, boring programming and networking stuff that was very boring and repetitive. Yes, I'm just not really gonna go into it. And now last thing, we gotta polish it all up with some new lighting, new textures, and jiggle physics.
Jiggle, jiggle. I like the way you jiggle, jiggle. For sure.
So real quick, before we add those jiggle physics, I just want to let you know that you can wishlist Cuff Bust on Steam right now to get notified when it releases. My current goal is for Cuff Bust to become one of the top 200 most wishlisted games, and once we hit that goal, I'm going to give away a bunch of extra Steam keys and a devlog. So, subscribe to stay tuned for that and wishlist the game. That's it.
200?
Like really happy. It would make his day. I'm just saying. So now we're on the final step of completing this milestone. First thing I did is I added blinking to make the characters feel a bit more dynamic. And then I also did a bunch of way too complicated math. Like this, it looks so simple, but this took me like multiple attempts and multiple days to get the math right on this. And it's basically just to make it so that when you look side to side, your body will stay still as the head moves. Then I touched up the textures.
You got me looking side to side.
Jiggle physics, baby, let's go. So I thought it'd be fun to have these dynamic gears that just kind of like move and flop all around. Turns out Unreal Engine's jiggle physics system is incredibly robust. So it took a little bit of time to get the tuning right, but I think it turned out great, and it makes, again, that combined with the blinking,
that is some crazy jiggles.
The characters feel so much more dynamic and alive.
Dynamic entry.
It's really, really cool. And that is where I left off. Milestone 1 for Cuff Bust. Also, the full trailer for the game just dropped. Quick secret for just you guys watching this, but I actually hid 10 Steam keys for the game in the trailer as well. I'll be uploading more devlogs really soon because honestly, this was just the beginning. I've got a ton more stuff to show off. Subscribe for more videos about the game, wishlist on Steam, and...
Wow. And what? I stopped right. Jiggle physics. Jiggle physics. See, jiggle physics. Jiggle physics. Anywho, yeah. So, would I ever make a multiplayer? I don't even know if could I make a multiplayer game, bro? Bro has 10 years of experience. I feel like I need 10 years of experience just to even think about that. I mean, I don't know, because who made Stardew Valley? The person who made Stardew Valley did it in 4 years. I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. Am I that person? Who knows? You never know. You never see it coming. Anywho, you know what you haven't seen coming? Wait, that didn't sound right. I don't know. But you can always press the subscribe button if you want to see more from me. So, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. That'll be much appreciated. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.